Do you ever notice that voice in your head that says things to you like, man up, stop being weak, get a grip? Other people have it worse. Just deal with it. That voice can be incredibly powerful because over time, you can start believing that needing support means that you're failing, that showing your emotions means that you're weak, that struggling means that there's something wrong with you. But what if I was to tell you that that voice is not actually telling you the truth, and it's not actually your voice? 9 times out of 10, that'll be a voice from somebody else. Sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes it could even be your boss. My voice that I get when, when I'm feeling a bit vulnerable or whatever, it's my mum. And, it can be really gut wrenching when I hear her voice telling me that, oh, that's a stupid idea, or that's not good enough, or what are you doing that for? You're wasting your time. So it's trying to recognise who that voice is for you. And not only that, this voice can sometimes be something that you've learned from somebody else. Hi, I'm Cheryl, an anxiety therapist, and I'm the creator of the Heart to Heal method. I help people understand the emotional patterns, stress responses, and experiences that shape the way they think, feel, and respond, so that they can move forward from feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, or stuck towards greater calm, confidence, and connection. Through my work, I often see people carrying emotional rules they never consciously chose themselves. Rules about how they should feel, rules about how they should cope with things, rules about how they should show up in the world. And sometimes the biggest barrier to heal is not the emotion itself, it's the judgments that we place on ourselves for having that emotion in the first place. You might know this feeling. You might be having a difficult day. You might be feeling really, really overwhelmed. You might be feeling completely exhausted. You might even be struggling with something that feels really, really heavy. But before you even acknowledge what is happening, that inner voice appears. And it'll say things like, oh, stop making a fuss. You should be stronger than this. You can't let anyone see you struggling. Instead of asking yourself, what do I need right now? You start asking, why am I not coping better? And suddenly, you're not dealing with the original problem at all. You then starting to fight against yourself. The truth is that critical voice often did not appear out of nowhere. It was shaped by your experiences, and the things that you were taught, and the messages that you have absorbed, especially when you were younger. The environment that you grew up in. Maybe you even learned that emotions were something to hide, because a lot of men, especially like the older generation, feel that it's something that you don't put on show. And maybe you learn too that being strong meant handling it all alone and not talking about the way that you're feeling. Maybe you also learned as well that your worth came from being capable, successful, or dependable. And at some point, these messages become your internal voice, and that voice then takes on a certain person. Now, I'm not saying that this voice is bad all the time, because a lot of the time that voice is trying to protect you from something, but it can be very, very critical. And the way that it tries to protect you is through this criticism. Many people think that their inner critic is helping them, and they believe, if I'm harder on myself, I'll do better. If I push myself that little bit harder, I will be successful. If I don't allow myself to struggle, I will stay really strong. And sometimes that pressure can help you to achieve things, and that's fine. That's good if that's what's pushing you along. But over time, constantly fighting against yourself can become really, really exhausting. You can become someone who is successful on the outside, but on the inside, you're having a battle between yourself and your mind. You know, there's this full-on rocky fight going on inside yourself, and that is not a good place to be. The Hard to Heal approach is about understanding where that voice came from instead of automatically believing it. So instead of asking, what is wrong with me? We begin to ask, where did I learn that I had to treat myself this badly? Because you wouldn't treat a friend like that. You wouldn't talk to a friend like you talk to yourself. And that's one thing you need to notice about it, really, and ask yourself that question. Would I talk to my friend like that? You know, your inner critic is not your identity. It's just a pattern. And patterns can be understood and patterns can be changed. Through awareness and emotional regulation and self-compassion, you can begin creating a different relationship with yourself. One that is built on understanding rather than judgment. Through this work, you can begin to quieten that voice that's constantly telling you that you're not enough. You can begin to recognise when shame is starting to take over. And you can learn to respond with more patience and compassion. You can realise that asking for support does not make you a weak person. Having emotions and feeling those emotions does not make you a weak person. And being a human being does not make you a weak person. The true strength that you hold is not about never struggling. The true strength that you hold is about being able to understand yourself and keep moving forward. If this video made you think about the way that you speak to yourself, I hope it helped you to see that your inner voice is from a different perspective. It's not your perspective and it's not your thoughts. You are not the criticism that you've learned to carry. And you do not have to keep playing by the rules that are no longer serving you. If you found this video to be helpful, then please like and subscribe and follow along for more conversations about anxiety, emotional well-being, and the hidden patterns that shape how we think, feel, and live. And remember, your time to shine starts from within. Thanks for watching. I shall see you all again soon. Bye for now.